Yep, let the sun shine in. That's what the song says. And I got it, you got it, and we got it. So, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. And hey, this is the age of Aquarius. We have moved into it. And I'll tell you, just a powerful song. So, let the sun shine in. Favor upon us all, folks. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And Bosto, be service to others. And happy birthday if you got one. I know there's a lot of people that got one, and I got one on Sunday. So, hey, we're all just going to give a really big hug here. So, welcome, everybody. How are y'all? So good to see you. Let's see if I've got everything live here. It says I do. So, I'm alive. You're alive. He's alive. We're alive. Oh, yeah, there you go. Heavy day today out there. Woo! I mean, folks, the energy is heavy. Not here. I mean, it's not here, but we recognize it. I mean, we can go up to the window and go, damn, you looking at that? Look at that. I mean, it's like, we're in the middle of the whirlwind, but the house is secure. Ain't nothing moving. Yeah. Big losses today on Wall Street. Wow. The tech sector, this is reminiscent of 2001. That was a bad day in the tech sector, and we're seeing another one. It's bloody. And even the blue chips. Now, you may say, well, Steiger, I'm really not into, that stuff. Well, it doesn't matter, because that stuff impacts all of us. So anyway, send some positive vibes. They can use it. A lot of people freaking out. And if you haven't heard this before, I'll say it again. Get your ass out of debt. Get your ass to Mars. Get out of debt. It's bloody. Wow. That's all I got to say. It is. It's just, you look at this and you go, okay, so, you can't trust in that. You can't trust in that. Can't trust in that. Who can we trust? You. Who's the leader of the band that was made for you and me? Put your name in there. That's what it is. And just start walking around, man. Just start doing the Mickey Mouse thing. But Wayne, we're mature. We're adults. Yeah, tell me where it's written that adults can't be like kids. I see a lot of it every day, that adults acting like children. So, if you're going to walk it, then make sure that you do it well, right? Hey, Jackie, what's up? Truth Seeker, Janie, good to see you. Joyce, hello, DC. David Castle, how are you? And Rufus Gaza, favorite beat to you, my friend. It's early in the morning. Yeah. So let's see. Queen of Swords, what's up? Good to see you, beautiful. John, go. Maria, hello. Dick, what's up? Courtney. There you go. I like that. Oh, yeah, the emojis work well. Hey, FI, good to see you. Group hug to everybody. Red Honey. Well, as we all file in, right? So here's something I'll just read to you. It's fun. Part of those things. Do you know that the vast majority of people don't believe themselves, nor do they believe what they say? And then they want to know, well, why things go so awry? Well, it's plain as day. You see, we know what the rhyme all the time, just in time, does here, right? How many y'all know that, right? Now, just laugh because some of y'all know. So anyway, let's have some fun. So here is a spell that you can cast. It's a spell and it comes from Rose's Simple Magic. This is the magical pathway of prosperity. This is a real simple one. So all you will need is some powdered sandalwood and powdered cinnamon. Now, if you don't have sandalwood, you can use frankincense or even dried basil. So step one, combine the 4 parts, powdered sandalwood and 1 part of powdered cinnamon, 4 parts powdered sandalwood and 1 part powdered cinnamon. You should use enough to fill a small bowl. Okay, step 2, walk out of your doorway and out to the nearest sidewalk. If you're in an apartment or condo, go out of the building to the sidewalk. And don't worry about what people, if they see you. Wear it, darling. I mean, come on. You cast spells all the time. How about doing something that will actually help you? Step 3, as you walk back to your front door, sprinkle this powder behind you and stop once you get inside your house. Step 4, forget about this ritual and go about your life. Over the next several days, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Hey, that's pretty cool. Why not? You know? You see, for 50 years in my indoctrination, there was one thing that I found that really worked. And to this very day, I know it by memory. It's ingrained into my DNA, is this. And I can give you chapter and verse, I'll spare you. But it says, if you would say unto this mountain, now that mountain can be anything that's standing in your way of you achieving, accomplishing, getting that which you desire or want or need. So whatever that need is, it's a mountain because it's preventing you from getting your desire. Anyway, it says, and if you would say unto this mountain, be cast up and thrown into the sea, and doubt not in your heart, but believe that your heart, that those things for which you have said, they shall come to pass. Yeah. So I like that. AFI says everything I do is magic. That's a fact. You know, America has a great song. ELO has another song. I mean, lots of songs written about magic, you know. There you go. And why not? So, you know, if you really believe what you say, then you should be expectant. It's interesting. So I was out doing things. There's a lot of things I'm doing right now. But this thought hit me. People, when they want change in their life, they look at it and they go, I'd like to be like that. I really would, but I know myself. I just know. And I've tried, you know, things before and it just didn't work out. The problem is you lack perspective on what change really is. We're all, as I said yesterday, we're all getting older each day. The change may be very imperceptible, but it's there. It's like the movement of a glacier. Doesn't seem like it's moving when you're standing on it, but it is. And the next thing I know, I'm inside my mind and I am piloting this huge ship. And I'm standing on the pilot deck and I have the wheel in front of me and my guides are telling me change always takes place And so often a person becomes so used to disappointment. You get your hopes up, you start trusting, inevitably you get defeated, you're disappointed, you become discouraged. And think about that word that means to separate from you from courage. It means that that is your natural state, is courage. That's why they call it discouraged. But because all you can see from the pilot house is just the bow of the boat and ocean. And if you didn't have those guides, those things that we use as markers to determine if we're on the right path, we're all on a path, but in this case, you're piloting the ship. And then it was spoken, folks, all you have to do is barely move the rudder, the wheel. I mean, just by saying each day, every day, and in every way, things are getting better day by day. That's nudging the wheel, and you're not going to be able to see it. Your eye is on the horizon, and it's very, you can't put a marker on it. Someone needed to hear that. So, yeah, that's how small changes lead to big results. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Jerry, I like that. How you doing? People are magic. Every magic is not something you do. Magic is what we are. Yeah. We're magical beings. I mean, it's remarkable the fact that all of us are here. So I have said, when you go through the initiation, the birthright, I mean, if us humans could only get that into our heads, it's like, wow, we're really, it's like, how you doing? You can walk up to a stranger and say, man, I don't know you, but you listen, you and I share a commonality. We all share the fact that we came in one way and we're all going out the same way. And if humans could ever get that into their head, yeah, but all right. So yesterday I had a program planned. It was fun. I enjoyed the heck out of it. And I know a lot of you said the same thing. So we're here in this reality, right? We like to think that we're sentient. We like to think that consciousness does not come with a cost. Have you ever thought about that? Does your consciousness, the fact that right now people are typing, people are listening, people are watching, the fact that you have literally consciousness. Now, the question is consciousness free? Did you pay a price for your self-awareness? The ability to think? Did you pay a price for that? Is the ability to think and to have consciousness, is it a gift? Is it a privilege? Is it earned? Or can you buy it? Can you buy a consciousness? If spirit is energy, then, I mean, can a spirit take on a different consciousness? Can we exchange consciousness like we change our underwear? I mean, is consciousness really that special? Now, if it is, then that would imply, directly or indirectly, that consciousness has great value. There's something about consciousness that apparently other consciousness want. They have to have not just the single consciousness. That's important because the single will usually lead to more. And so the more consciousness energies that they can acquire, the more powerful they become, the more richer they become. But then that becomes something then that says that wealth extends beyond merely silver and gold and paper. So the birth certificate, talked about this several times, and I get lots of emails on it. And today, where it is brutal, it's bloody. I mean, trillions of dollars being lost just like that. And you go, okay, so is there any legitimacy? There is. I mean, you think about this. What else do we all have in common besides coming in one way through the birth and then going out the other way, of which they call death? You know why they call it death? Is that because you're free, baby? You's out of here. So what else do we have in common? Every other human being, what we have in common is that we are chattel. We're a commodity. And it's, again, I have something, and I want to thank Bonnie, because Bonnie, the document you sent, the thing is that we live in a reality that is not reality. We live in a reality that is far different from what we think it is. There is a reality that dominates this reality, and it's called legalese. You ever get into the legal system, if you ever go through the civil system, you know it's not pleasant. If you go through discoveries, you go through depositions, yeah, brutal. If you get on the criminal side, you're fucked. Yeah, there's a component to it that people don't understand. And it's because we're blind to it. There's a spiritual aspect to it, of this consciousness. But as I said, you get into the criminal side of the legal system and you really find out how little rights you have, possess, other than your consciousness. But it turns out that we may not actually own our own consciousness. Our programming is pretty thorough. You have to agree. Today, the young mind coming into this realm is captured now with the technology almost before birth. So you got to go and go, okay. So again, you get in, by the way, either side is expensive. It really is. You ever been in a courtroom? Fascinating study. Yet if you've been there and you understand what the bar is, you understand what the bench is, you understand all of these customs. And if you think you're so ignorant and arrogant that you can violate those laws, sucker, we'll be seeing your ass in jail, because it's called contempt of court. You cannot go in to that realm and play by your own rules. Don't work that way. And yet we sit out here and we think that, don't affect me. Like hell, it doesn't. It affects all of us, every human being. This is the system that exists in the open, that everyone wants to be blind to. Now, if you go into the system, let's say you want to be a barrister, a lawyer, an attorney. Well, once you get law school over with, you have to pass the bar. Now, this is important because once you pass the bar, now you are an officer of the court. And the court is founded on Black's law. If you don't know what Black's law is, then again, either side of it, even the fact of paying a traffic ticket, this is highly complex. There is a complex system that each one of us, we're entangled in it. I often question that if Hermes is right, as above, so below, as below, so above, are we saying that there is a system as complex as the legal system here? And every country has one. And it's amazing about this thing called legal is that because when groups of humans come together, inevitably, they're going to make rules, laws, mandates. And you begin to find out how quickly you ain't as in control as you think, but you think you still have your consciousness. So what's the purpose then? Yeah, this gets weird, you know. Hey, Gen X. Yeah, that's a fact. Hey, Bonnie, pay attention to the road, girl. Whoop. So let's get right into this. Now, I've talked about this before, and if you actually, none of us will actually have the original. None of us have the original birth certificate. Now, here's where legalese and finance are the two great whores. And you see, finance, money, is the great whore of all whores. But when she is with her twin sister, legalese, there's no one escapes. Now, this is a birth certificate. Now, certificates, let's think about that. Why is certificates so important? And this is what amazes me when I get into this discussion with people. So people fluff this off. So I got a birth certificate. Doesn't mean anything. Really? Huh. So if I were to sell you some stock, or you were to go to an exchange and buy stock, a commodity, what are you going to get in exchange? A stock certificate. Why is it important that you have a stock certificate? Because if you get lucky and that stock that you were valued at coming in increases, the only way that you can make claim to it is to have the stock certificate. Now, the interesting thing about this is that once you have a certificate, it becomes a bond. What are bonds? Well, bonds are exactly what they are. They're instruments of trust. Trust. So we have certificates, bonds, trust, because the smartest thing if you happen to have wealth, is that you know you don't have personal wealth. What has the wealth? Your trust. Who has your estate? All of that is what? Done by deed, certificate, bond. You have cities. If they need to finance municipality projects, infrastructure, they will sell bonds where you can buy these bonds. They guarantee to pay a certain percent of interest and principal. Now, bonds then become notes. And all of us in our daily commerce now use notes in exchange. Even if you're using electronic payment, it's still going to be converted to a note. And you look about notes, well, notes become very interesting because with a note, I can now have a piece of paper that has a perceived stated value that where I can take that note and then I can do a thing in finance called subordinated debenture notes. Subordinated debenture notes are terms and tools of finance. But what's really happening here? It's all being traded on this. And as you see here, every one of us, and I believe this holds true virtually in every country. In here, you have the American Bank Note Company. Now, many people don't realize the United States has already declared bankruptcy. We were bankrupt after the Civil War. We couldn't pay our bills. That's why we have the Federal Reserve, which is now, and I'm telling you folks, we're heading into a depression. I hope you're prepared for it. You can have a great attitude. And let me tell you, a lot of people get rich in depressions, but because they know and understand, again, none of us possess the original. Now, the great quest is to find out who actually holds your original birth bond. You can call it certificate, but it's still a bond. Why? Well, because as this document, if you want it, be more than happy to send it to you. It's not a long one. You and I, if you're an American citizen and if you're a citizen of another nationality of country, it's the same way with you. This is how we're traded in the World Bank. In Luxembourg, you have your number, as I do. And we are the collateral. There is a lot of controversy about what's happening to the southern border, but it's really interesting because this is truly like the game of Risk. You see, heads are important here. You do the head count. Why? Because you're just adding more money into my bank. And that's why I need birth to be higher than death. Now, I can trade you even after you're dead because you most likely have some residual value. And they do trade you after you're dead. But ideally, we want to see something about a 2.1, 2.3 to every one death. And you can now see with the potential numbers on this, as I said before, what each of us is worth, it really has different value. There is I guess, a baseline value that's placed upon us. But as you achieve markers in life, as your value may go up, as you know, if you're successful, if you begin to acquire a great deal of wealth, well, that's going to have on the ledger a correlating value that you go up. Hell of a system, isn't it? Now, if you're one of the poor bastards out there that, you know, that just gets left behind, and the way of your upbringing is that you think poverty, you think debt, you think servitude, you're just one of the masses. But you are important because no matter how the value is, you still have value. And again, you know, it depending on how you look at this, I've seen numbers that each of us are worth billions. Now, there have been those who have tried this in courts. Problem is, we are under maritime law. We are not under common law. In fact, I think there's only one common law court left in the United States. It's in Washington, D.C. But it's amazing it doesn't get used. Why? Because people don't know. Again. So, as you can see here, your certificate, I mean, that's your value. I mean, you know, the thing about it is each and every one of us would have the houses that you'd want. We would have, it's just preposterous. But when you have a small group that have been in this power for I don't know how long, I mean, this shit goes way back. They've just made it more complicated because, and it's not easy to ferret out. But once you do it, well, then it's kind of one of those questions. All right, so now what do I do? What do I do with this? Because if you go into the maritime court, that means shit. They're going to store your ass in high transit, as they would say. But yeah, and again, y'all want this document? It is a great document to do. I'm not going to go through it. I have in the past. But what is interesting, and Bonnie, thank you for sending this, is the fact that we're in this thing called Legalese. And you really have to understand how words work. Julianne Payne, you know, word alchemist. A lot of us are word alchemists, but she is proficient in it. And as you can see, so youth is an old English word called for young people, junior warriors, or young of cattle, related to jong or young from a Proto-Germanic word. And I think is it jung onthai? Source was Old Saxon. I mean, come on. You look at this and it's almost gibberish, but it's not. So you continue to look at the word, and then you look at the suspect from where it's formed, from pi, which is the root word for you, which is the vital force, which is youthful vigor, young. So you look at young, and again, youthful, young, recent, new, fresh. I find this one so fascinating because human. So what is the definition of a human being in legalese? A human being, this was from the 1530s, told you it goes back, from human. Its Old English equivalent is guma, survives only in disguise in bridegroom. So as a former Christian, in which, you have a memory that you remember what you read, it's quite interesting, because isn't this one of the most prophetic things that Christ said? That humans are what? The bridegroom. Kind of puts that prophecy in a whole different light, doesn't it? So you have guma, man, which is Lord or hero. Wow. Makes sense now, doesn't it? It's not quite what they said. I found this one interesting as well. Person, a man considered according to the rank he holds in society, with all the rights to which the place he holds entitles him, and the duties which it imposes. So the thing about it is, no one gets a free ride. The check always comes due. No matter how wealthy you are, or how broke or poor you are, there is still this thing inside of us all, But the point is here is that, yeah, you may go up the scale, but at the same time, the responsibilities increase. What most people don't realize about money, it's a pain in the ass. It is. You can't let money stay idle. You'll lose it eventually. Because if you don't work it, don't do it. If you let it lay idle and you die, this is 99.5% of the time, it will be spent by others. Usually your heirs, who won't give a crap about what your sacrifice was. But the point is, money, it's burdensome. But let's talk about this, continue what a person is. So persons are divided by law into natural and artificial. Natural persons are such as the God of nature formed us. Artificial are such as are created and devised by human laws for the purposes of society and government, which are called corporations or bodies politics. And this is in Black's Law Dictionary, first edition. I've done this before, and every time I do this and we get into this topic, it blows the freaking walls of illusion out. Because no matter what I think, no matter what I profess to say I believe, it's all bullshit, because no matter how it is, I am still in this. I can say, nope, I disassociate myself from it. I have no part of it. Doesn't matter. I am powerless to alter this, as you are. They'll let us play in our little circle, our little sandbox, but it doesn't matter. We're just playing in a little sandbox that has billions of other little sandboxes. It pisses me off. So we've talked about human. We've talked about in Black's Law. We've talked about what Black's Law defines as a person. Let's see what Black's Law says about a man. A human being, a person of the male sex, a male of the human species above the age of puberty. Now, this is interesting. because this directly implies that below puberty, what? Yeah. In feudal law, this is what we're all under. A vassal, a tenant, or a feudatory, The Anglo-Saxon relation of lord and man was originally purely personal and founded on mutual contact. Now, here's the real mind coitus. D, there is no definition of human in either Black's Law's Dictionary, first edition, or the Belvar's Law of Dictionary, 1856. Well, I thought what we were just, Notice again, it's not capitalized. It's a noun, right? Woman. There is no definition of woman, singular, in Black's Law Dictionary. Neither of Beauvair's Law Dictionary. Women. All the females of the human species. All such females who have arrived at the age of puberty. Which is implying that until you reach the age of puberty, rights, position, recognition, non-existent. But wait a minute. There has to be a definition for child, right? This word has two meanings in law. One, in the law of the domestic relations, and as to descent and distribution. It is used strictly as a correlative of parent and means a son or daughter considered as in relation with a father or mother. Now, today, in the woke world, we have to remove these and insert new neutral pronouns. But the problem is, woke America won't do you a damn bit of good in a court of law. Because until it's changed in Black's law, you can say whatever you want, but you get into a court of law, this is where things get interesting. Two, the law of negligence. And in laws for the protection of children, it is used as the opposite of adult and means the young of a human species, generally under the age of puberty, without any reference to parentage and without distinction of sex. There is no definition of wedlock in Black's Law. This is a fun one. Bonnie, thank you for sending it. Adolescence. What does it say in Black's Law? That age which follows puberty and precedes the age of majority. Wow, really? It commences for males at 14 and for females at 12 years completed and continues till 21 years complete. See, that's how they, in cases of law that, for instance, insurance coverage. Yeah. Again, woman, there's no definition for woman. So, yeah, check it out. Now, this then leads to money, because it's well established that we're walking ATM machines. It's just something or someone or some organization is profiting off of us every freaking day. You know, what really gets me about this is that you would think that, hell, you know, God asked for 10%. Why don't they give us 10%? I mean, if we're truly worth this money, which apparently we are, I mean, I'd take 10% of $1 billion. It's $100 million. Thank you very much. You know, take my marbles and get the hell out of here, right? This document, it's 700 pages, and if you really want to know about money, how it's so bizarre. Every time I look at our currency and you look at the inscriptions, I mean, there's and if you're of the mindset of demons or evil, there is some pretty weird stuff on our money. And the weirder stuff is in the larger denominations. You look at $500 bills, 1,000. I think it's illegal for any American to hold, I think, anything above a $10,000 bill, and they may have changed that. But these engravers, you want to talk about some wizards, and they're not magicians. These can only be called wizards. But anyway, I digress. It's the fact that we have to have it means that no matter what you do, it's going to contaminate you. And, it's impractical to carry gold or silver. This doesn't work that way anymore. But anyway, I digress. So there you go. And I mean, this document here, again, it's amazing how our system is a system that goes back thousands of years. It goes all the way back to the Sumerian. And it's still just, I shake my head when I think about this. So we've got fiat currency. You've got, gold-backed currency. You have currency. You and I are currency. And if you break the word down, it implies that there's a current going through us. But we don't see it that way, do we? But every time you exchange currency, even if you're doing it digitally, don't you see the current? I mean, how do you free yourself from that? I guess you could get on an isolated, deserted island, as long, I guess, you had water and a source of food, I guess. But the vast majority are not going to have that. So, I mean, and when I've read this document, it should be required reading for everybody. But in any case, check it out. A currency. I love that. It's a currency. Yeah, it is a currency. And look at what happens today. I mean, today, people are getting wiped out. Let me just see. I know in the NASDAQ, we are in what they would call bear market. When tech stocks go into bear markets, that always ends up, and I'm just checking, excuse me real quick. Yeah, I mean, the threshold was 12,000 for the NASDAQ. We're at 1050. Ouch. And the Dow is now in bear territory. It's now 29,000. So that is representation of big, big losses. So what do we do? There is an answer to this. There really is. And it really comes down to the fact that if, in fact, things begin to crater, remember, they're still trading us. Now, what's important is that we stay into the system. But what they fear, and so many laws now and so many municipalities are to prevent this, is when people come together and they begin to form communes, co-ops. And when they begin to adapt another system of commerce called barter, The barter system is alive and well. It's not spoken about a lot because you don't want to talk about it a lot. Too many years. But trust me, folks, if you're a prepper and a survivor, if this is, and you should be, even our government, Uncle Sam says it. But what's really going to get people through this is bartering, and this is the thing that they don't like, is that many people, we've been hip to this. We're ready for it, and we're going to be just fine. Expect some other curveballs, but if it was just in this particular course, I think many of us would thrive. Because if you get right down to it, you really don't need money. That's the great illusion. We don't need it. We do it simply because it's easier for exchanging of commerce, of bartering for goods and services. But we're good at that. Things are going to be changing in our society. And that's cool. We're adaptive. So just something to think about. Eric Corson, I like that. Krause says, get rid of money, that filthy lucre. It's just exactly dirty, filthy money. And it's always odd, the conundrum in my former religion is that it says that money, the love of money is the root of all evil. And it also talks about the filthy lucre, that's filthy money. But yet, God requires a 10% tax, which then just leads me to think, and I thought this for a long time because, folks, I was in that. I was the one who invented the first mobile giving app. If he's God, what the hell does he need 10% of us with our money for? Because he sure the hell ain't spending it. Somebody else is spending it. But anyway, and again, it gets back to that whole thing. If they're profiting off of our bonds, our personal birth certificates, well, give us this 10%. I mean, make it a stipend, make it a whatever, but yeah. Oh, folks. All right. If Amber Heard makes really, I have no idea. $10 million a month. Well, there you go. I mean, that would work well for me. I mean, well, quite frankly, no, it wouldn't. Let me just tell you, my personal view is that, it's kind of like eating. I don't eat and overstuff. I mean, it's not good for you. What I'm saying is that, do you really need tens of millions of dollars? Do you really need that? I mean, why? But to each his own, right? What I consider to be rich is probably poor to another man or another woman. But anyway, all righty. Bonnie, what'd you say? I bought today the book, Something is Wrong When, an American Affidavit of Probable Cause. Yeah. We're in strange time. Hey, Mary Wins, what is up? Hey, John Price, good to see you. Scott Shut Hats, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah. Hey, Brandy, did anyone ever tell you you're a fine girl? And Danny, how are you? So there you go. And through we can discuss all of this, but when it really gets down to it, unless you take the necessary steps, you can either get really whacked by this, or you can really come out doing just fine. It's kind of like, the guy that wakes up, and says, fine day. Everyone else is going, but you didn't see what happened. No, I slept right through it. All right. Calculating 10% of a billion. Yep, that's there. See, Loretta, seriously. Think about this. We could build our own community, but inevitably, we would probably come up with a law, right? Inevitably, because we always do. I stayed in a commune outside of Teos, New Mexico back in the day. Just visited there, but yeah, it was really weird, because it didn't feel like it was real open, but there were others that wow, it was groovy. So anyway, why does God need money? Yeah, that's Gilbert. How are you doing? How did your surgery go, my friend? Is God naked? Apparently not. Yeah. Which always made me wonder, is God circumcised? I never figured that one out. Now I know I'm completely going off course, but seriously, if God is perfect and he made the human body perfect, what the hell is this circumcision about? The questions that make you go, Love wins every time, Mary. It does. That is so true. Yeah. So how is everyone in the chat room? Always reminded me of the joke. Abraham, comes off the mountain, when he's going to sacrifice Isaac, and comes in because Abraham had slaves, and to the head slave, and says, I just made a deal with the guy who says that he's God. And the dude says, hey, that's far out. It means we won't have to be working anymore, struggling. We don't have to be fighting these wars anymore. He says, so what does he want for all this? Abraham brought to him circumcised. And you know what the head servant said? Like hell. So anyway, I don't want to live in a smart city either, because it's not smart. Who defined it as smart? You know what it means by smart? It's spying on you. That's what it means. Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. God has deep pockets. Of course he does. But then that means he wears pants. I don't know. Now, I can't say this when the angel that I saw, and that's the only thing I know what to describe it, even after all these years, up at Grace Christian Center there in St. Louis, had pants. So I guess there's a dress code. I've become convinced of this. I'm just trying to figure out at what part through the transition process do you take the representation of what you just, well, we got military aircraft going over, but at what point do the clothes go with you? Is that how it works? Do the clothes become ethereal? I don't know. It's weird. Well, greetings from Poland. How are you, AKT? Good to see you. Speaking favor over you. May you prosper even in the darkest of days, because you're the light, baby. That's what it is. Which God? There lies the answer. I pondered that, Joyce, many times, as we all have. Which one? It's like someone asked me, said the other day, they wrote me, said, do you believe in God? I wrote back and I said, which one? And they never write back. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not being a wise ass. I'm not being a jerk. I just want to know which one. I think that is respectful, because I've met a lot of people in my journey here that I haven't found one of them that believe the same God, which leads me to the ultimate conclusion is that there must be, 7 or 8 billion gods. I love y'all. Love this group. I mean, this is a group that, we could actually get a roller skating rink. Now that would be a wild party, would it not? Wise Art of San Diego. I said, yes, yes. Uh, I haven't heard from him, Jerry, but that is so cool. I would love to hear from him. I mean, if he's actually got that, could you imagine? I mean, I'd like to be able to put my hands on that. Wow. Seriously. Woo! Okay. All right, folks, I am out of here. I most likely am not going to be on tomorrow. I am taking the day off. Sunday is my birthday. So my wife, which I love you, dear, has something planned. So I don't know. Surprises. I love surprises. I confess they're only good surprises, Lori, much love to you. Thank you. Zach Brown. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's cool, Brandy. Absolutely. Someone asked these, Bonnie, you're welcome. All righty, folks. I am on my way out. Have a great day. And make sure to tune in to the other channels. The ladies over there and Drama 7 and, Robert V of Milky Way Soul Tribe and Nina and all the rest of them. Lucky, I really like your programs. Thank you, Lucky. Right back at you, brother. Right back at you. And thank you, Lost in Space. 67. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? And if things change, I'll let you know, but right now I was told, don't do that. So, all right, folks, much love to you. And we'll be seeing each other real soon.